Hello again, people of the internet, and thank you so much for joining me. My name is Angie, and this is my travel vlog. A few months ago, I went to the beautiful country of Peru, and it was an incredible experience that I got to share with my best friend. When I first got back, I started this 5-part series of my 8 days there, and this video is number 4 of that series. It makes me a little sad to say that because that means we are getting to the end of this series, and it has been wonderful reliving my time in Peru. But the ending of that signifies new beginnings, and that new beginning will be my next trip, and I'm going to Hawaii, Australia, New Zealand, and Seattle for 6 weeks, and I couldn't be more stoked about that. And hopefully I'll be able to take you guys with me if my brother will let me borrow his laptop. Come on, Johnny. You haven't used it in a long time anyway, so please, 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 please. Hopefully that very public display of begging will convince you to let me take it, Johnny. So, please. If not, I won't be seeing you guys for a good long 6 or 7 weeks. So, that'll suck. But you can follow me on my other social medias. I do post a lot on Snapchat, and I post some stuff on Instagram and Facebook too, so, you know, follow me on those things. But let's get back to this video and talk about how I was a f***ing idiot and decided it would be a good idea to have a few drinks the night before I was supposed to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go up to almost 17,000 feet in elevation. Nellie and I were feeling much better after resting for a little bit the day after Machu Picchu, so we decided to get dressed and check out the festivities going on in the hostel. They had a barbecue night, which came with a free glass of wine, but somehow 1 glass of wine turned into 2 glasses of wine, which turned into a beer, which turned into me playing trivia. Notice how I said "fuck it." I would later regret that decision. And even though we won, and I had a great time, and we did get to meet some pretty cool people, including this guy named Adam, I felt like shit the next morning. But I loaded myself up with coca leaves and I got on the road. So let's talk about the actual tour itself. When I looked online before I left, the cheapest one that I saw was like $100. But as I said in my itineraries video, I do not like to book things before I go because oftentimes you will find them cheaper in the cities because they are trying to fill up spots for these places. So I always feel like it's best to wait. I found one for 50 bucks and it included breakfast and lunch, and the tour guides were very informational, and I think that they brought like oxygen tanks and stuff like that too. So safety is very important. You don't want to leave that out for price. Like some people said that they found some for like $35, but I would rather spend the extra $15 to make sure that I am safe and that I am also fed, because not eating before you go is not a very good idea. Being that high up takes a lot out of you. So be sure to eat and stay hydrated. The place that we stopped at for breakfast was really beautiful, and I saw these guys fishing, but they didn't catch anything while I was standing there, and I started to feel like a creep. So I decided to stop staring at them. So I don't know if they ever caught anything, but I did get to catch a beautiful view. And the views only got better as the bus ride went on. And the alpacas, my God, there were so many of them, so many. Cute. And a fun little trick that our tour guide saw us, there is an easy way to tell the difference between alpaca and llama. So llamas look like this. And alpaca look like this. So llama, ears up, long mouth, snout thing, and alpaca, ears down and back, and a small snout. This tour is full of amazing views, literally from start to finish. So if that's what you're into, you'll get it.
Ready? Yes. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Are you ready, champion?
Yes, we are. Oh.
Ready? What happened?
Yeah, so we kind of fucked that up. I really loved how the Andean people dressed. Everything was just so colorful and full of life. I loved it. What I did not love though was this bathroom and the toilet that you had to squat over to use. This is not the first toilet that I have seen like this, but I hope that it's the last. Nah, I'm just kidding. So it used to be that you had to hike like 6 or 7 miles to get to this spot and to see these things, which I could not imagine doing, especially at this elevation. But luckily, 7 months ago, they built a new road, and now instead of 7 miles, you only have to hike 4 kilometers. It's a beautiful thing, especially for someone like me. But I could not even make it the 4 kilometers. I made it 1. And I had to take a horse the rest of the way up. So, yeah. I had to give up. Can't do it. But there's no shame in that, you know? Plenty of people took it, and they wouldn't have them there if people didn't need them. So, if you feel like taking a mule, take one. Who cares? You don't want to miss out on this beautiful sight just because you're too proud to take a fucking donkey. And the lady was really sweet. She told me to put my phone away like 50 times, so I didn't really get any good pictures, but we got a good picture together. And luckily, the guy who took me back down didn't give a f about my safety and let me have my phone out the whole fucking time and didn't say anything. He didn't even look back, not once. So, and even though I took the donkey up, I was still really out of breath and exhausted, so I decided to sit with this lady and have a cup of coca tea while I enjoyed the surrounding views and posed for a few pictures. Then it was time to go because time was a-wasting and I could not stop there. You might want to, because at this point you're at about 16,000 feet and you have another 500 feet left to go to get to the top with the most scenic views. Don't miss it. Don't stop. You can do it. Go. And the views got better. And I got to meet a couple of alpaca. And as I said, do not stop because the views just keep getting better and better and better and more better and way more better and so much better. You can do it, I promise. If I can do it, you can do it. And it was time for the end of our tour. I was really not feeling so hot. I've never ever been up that high before and it took its toll on me. So I took a mule back down. No shame. And like I said earlier, the guy didn't really give a shit about my safety, but I still didn't really get good footage because, well, because this. But nonetheless, it was nice to take the mule down and be able to admire the surrounding mountains and all of the alpaca again without dying or collapsing from lack of oxygen. So if you have to take the mule, take it. And it is so worth it to take the mule because if you cannot hike that fast in those kind of conditions, then you're gonna save yourself a lot of time. Plus, it was only like 35 soles, which is about 10 USD. ended up giving them more because I think that they should charge more for something like that, because that is some hard work. They're literally running through mud. So do what you want, pay them whatever they'll charge you, but I think you should give them more. Anyway, when we got back to the van and waited for everybody else to get there, I noticed that my hands were a different color, and I thought that they might just be dirty from the saddle, but they didn't change after I like rubbed them off and stuff. And so I just realized that my hands were fucking blue because of the lack of oxygen. My tour guide didn't worry, so I tried not to worry, but I felt the worst that I had felt the entire time that I'd been there. But luckily, they had this little elixir made out of Andean plants that makes you feel better instantly. But I guess if you're really sick like I was, it doesn't help you for very long, because I still felt like shit and I had to use it a bunch of times, but luckily they even had it to begin with, and maybe I should have been more smarter and used an oxygen mask. But like I said, I'm not one to miss out on things, so I just kept going, kept on trucking. So to use this concoction, they pour a little bit of it in your hands, and then you're supposed to smack it, I guess, to get like the aromas going. And then you put it like this, and then take a huge breath, let it out, and then do it a couple more times, and then rub it on your head like so, and then maybe underneath your, and it makes you feel better, like I said, instantly. But also, like I said, if you feel really bad, it doesn't make you feel better for long. But it was amazing, and I wish I knew what was in it, and I wish I knew what it was called. I asked the lady and she didn't really tell me. So, but after that adventure, it was time to head back, and I can't say that I was not ready. But we did see some pretty cool things along the way, like all these llamas in the middle of the freaking road. I know this one's off to the side, but they were in the middle of the road. I just couldn't get it on video. But do you see what I mean about the llamas and the alpacas? Llama? Alpaca. Llama? Alpaca. And so concludes the best day of all the days. And seriously, I mean it. Like, I think this is probably the best day that I've ever had. And if I had to rank the most beautiful things I'd ever seen, this would be number one. But there are a few things that I need to go over either again or for the first time before you decide that you should go too. So, number one, the elevation is going to get to you. Bring some coca leaves with you. Take advantage of the coca tea. Use that little solution that they made out of Andean leaves. If you need an oxygen mask, use it. Number two, take advantage of the mule. Do it. It's not very expensive, and you'll save yourself a lot of time. There is no shame in taking the mule. Do it. Number three, apparently the way that you drink water is very important. I heard another tour guide saying to his group that you should not chug water at all while you're up there. You want to take little sips frequently so that your body can intake it as much as possible, I guess, whatever, from the lack of oxygen, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a scientist, but that sounded like a good tip to me, and that's what I did. And even though I didn't feel very good, I didn't die, so it's probably a good tip. Anyway, tip number four. There seems to be a lot of concern over the environmental impact that tourism is having on this area. I saw somewhere that a regular migrating spot for some kind of duck has been displaced because of the parking lot that they had to build for people to be able to go see this place. But the only reason we are able to even see this now is because of the impact that we are having, or maybe just whatever, climate change, whatever the fuck. Anyways, there was a glacier covering it and it melted, and that's the only reason that we can see it. If that's your reason for not going, then I guess, okay. But just so you know, this is the number 2 tourist destination now out of Cusco, right underneath Machu Picchu. So it's not gonna change anytime soon. So, I mean, you might as well go. If you're in Peru and you're from another country and you took a plane to get there, your carbon footprint is already immeasurable. So, I mean, like, why would you miss this? Anyways, tip number 5. Do not drink the night before. I'm leaving my hand like this because I'm like, stop, don't do it. don't break my heart. Or like break your lungs. Or your like blood vessels and stuff, because you don't want to die. Don't die. Don't die. Don't. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to leave it a thumbs up. And if you really, really liked it, be sure to share it on one of your social medias. In my next video, Nellie and I will be answering a few questions about our time spent in Machu Picchu, and also Nellie will be talking about her experience at the salt mines that she did while I was at the Rainbow Mountain. So be sure to tune in then. Thank you guys again. Bye. If you enjoyed this video and have the desire to see more, be sure to hit subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on my other social medias. I hope to see y'all next Wednesday. Toodaloo, motherfucker.